What is going on, everybody? I just welcome fight fans. I want you to take a moment and appreciate how much Maddie loves you guys as an audience and how much he loves doing this show, because Maddie is, as many South Florida residents do, is getting stuck in traffic right now. He is joining us remote and live because he wanted to be here so bad. Maddie, I am so happy to have you in today, and I know you'll be at the studio here in a minute, but Maddie, obviously, it's been a weird day for a lot of different reasons. It's kind of a weird card we have from Macau, China this week as well. So in some ways, it couldn't be more fitting. But how you doing, my man? Welcome into the show.
I'm good, bro. What time does this card actually start, by the way, in Eastern time?
So 3 a.m. Eastern is when the early prelims start.
Okay.
So and then the main card starts at 6 a.m. Eastern. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
I have to
I will
decide
not be
whether I want
live
to
a
stay
second.
up or get up early. It's probably gonna be stay up.
Yeah, I can't say the same. I will be going to bed and figuring out the results after the fact. This card, now, if this was like a pay-per-view and it was like loaded up, like, you know, maybe I'd consider staying up, but I'm sorry,
Yeah.
UFC, you lost me with this one. But I know now what it feels like to be a Europe fan every week, because like we have a lot of people in our audience that are from Europe. They join in the middle of the night every week, so I guess we have to put up with it.
That's
right?
true.
But Maddie, why don't we talk a little bit about last week? We had UFC 309. Unfortunately, our pay-per-view streak of long shots came to an end by the guillotine of Jim Miller. We got the Eduardo Maura decision in the first fight, and then honestly, I'll let you take over on some of the commentary. But Jim was kind of doing a lot of stuff we were expecting in that fight, and ended up not being silly and jumping the gillies. So, what were your emotions through that fight? I guess.
Dude, Jim Miller looks great, bro. I saw someone try to match him up with Tony Ferguson next, and I'm
I think he
like,
dog walked Ferguson at this point.
I think he's gonna kill him. I think Jim Miller beats anyone that's not like super elite, bro. Jim Miller at 40-something years old still looks great. You know what's crazy is the last 3 cycle parlays I put in, we got the decision lay right on, or no, we got one leg right, and then the other 2 were just backwards.
Yeah.
The last 2 in a row, bro. So we had Mora by decision on this last card. Then we had Jones submission, Miller KO. It should have been Miller submission, Jones KO. That's crazy.
Yeah. And like, if I could speak for a minute, like on the John Jones methodology, it's why I wasn't super huge on Jones sub as a straight bet, is because like he was clearly playing with his food in that fight. He really could have gotten it done however he wanted to. We saw the first round ground and pound, right? I thought we were going to lose the cycle then and there with those elbows, but he clearly didn't want the sub. Didn't look for it. I think that Jones is so aware of the criticism about him that if he goes for a submission there, they'll be like, oh, well, you're just subbing guys that don't know how to grapple, right? So he wanted to make a point, ended up going for the back kick eventually. And there's our cycle parlay from last week. Rest in peace. I got to give you props, man. The Eduardo Mauro lay. I came around it in real time. I ended up betting her sub decision, and that was a good start to the night.
Yeah, we were spot on that one.
Yeah.
I think if Stipe would have just gave up his back in that round 1, Jones would have still subbed him, but you never know. And then Jim Miller was boxing him up on the feet. It was perfect. Great. Stuffed every takedown, boxing him up on the feet. Damon Jackson just hands him the neck. So
yeah, I mean, clearly he was hurt in that fight in order to give up that sort of easy guillotine. Like, Damon's a guy that's been doing this for a long time, doesn't really fall into guillotines like that, but he was getting tagged. So I assume we'll try to build something of a long shot or a cycle at the end of this card. It's certainly a more challenging one. I hope that the vibes are good, because honestly, Maddie, my vibes about this card for Macau are not super high. So I'm hoping to hear what you say. We find some common ground somewhere, because look, I got to admit, on a lot of these, it feels like educated guessing. It feels like I don't love my model results. So I'm not super high confidence right now.
I feel that.
Okay, so why don't we dive in here, Maddie Remote from an Uber? Why don't we dive in here? We'll start breaking down the 13 fights at UFC Macau, starting with this guy at lightweight. I almost kind of find it a mirror match of sorts between Hayisaer Maheshate taking on Nikolas Iron Motta. Both of these guys with KO wins and losses in the UFC. Really kind of fringe roster contention, but obviously the UFC has a guy that they'd probably prefer to win this fight in China. Now Motta a plus 160 underdog, Maheshate the chalk at minus 205. Was actually able to model this one of the few I feel decent about. So what do you think about this fight, buddy?
I mean, both these guys are tough to predict. They could both crack. They both have like Motta has that win against Tom Nolan, I think it was,
Yep.
and then Maheshate had the win against Steve Garcia. I mean, I think the Garcia win's kind of more impressive, but it's tough. I mean, I think Motta at plus 160 is probably the play. Just maybe even knockout, but it's going to be a tough fight. I mean, he's got to survive round one, and I think he could maybe find a TKO in round two as a dog here.
Yeah. So here's the rousing start we're off to in this fight analytically. Um, Maheshate and Nicholas Motta, minimum 10 octagon minutes, the two lowest striking accuracies at lightweight. What could possibly go wrong there is that they typically swing and miss a little bit, similar defensive numbers. I don't think grappling is going to come into a play. So I modeled Motta at plus 120. I would blind the fight a little bit closer than this, but Maheshate a little bit of length advantages. He certainly did well in his last fight, extended distance against Gabriel Benitez. Weirdest model result here: 58.5% likely to go the distance, which we've seen them each go close to the distance a couple of times, but Motta is more of a guy that can crack. I've still got him about 18% by KO. So like I don't know how I feel about the total in this fight, but I played Motta when he was plus 170. I would still endorse it here plus 160. I think this is a pick that'll probably be popular with your Show Me the Money guys, right? Motta. If I remember correctly, we had a comment in chat saying that Gilbert loves Motta KO in this fight. So, I mean, he could certainly crack. We've seen it time and time again, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think he might crack him, bro. I mean, Gilbert just fades. Just Gilbert likes to fade Maheshate. He doesn't think he's very good.
I totally agree with that assessment. Like before the Benitez fight,
The Steve
Maheshate's
Garcia
distance.
knockout is crazy. Like I
Yeah,
think that fight happened today. Steve Garcia will put him away in 2 minutes.
yeah, I mean that was Garcia up at 155, where he clearly had different physical tools, and like since he moved down to 145, he's been a monster.
Yeah,
I don't know if Maheshate could make 145, so it's kind of a size thing there. But I
yeah.
agree with you. I honestly, if you came to me and we were looking up at the end and was like, I'm thinking Motta KO for the cycle. I'd really have to take a long look and a decision at it if it fit in well to our plans. I
What's the
do think
number?
Motta
Do you
gets
know
it.
what the number is right now?
Yeah, that's a good introduction, Maddie. Why don't we check FanDuel
Because I'm
Sportsbook?
open to that.
Yeah,
I'm so sold on my decision leg,
yeah,
but I don't know if you're gonna be with me or not. So
yeah.
we'll find
So
out.
we do have a prop Motta KO plus 380. It is his
Oh
most
my
likely outcome of
god!
the fight. Maheshate KO plus 150.
I
Interestingly
think
enough,
the value side is clearly on the Moto KO side.
yeah. So I
380.
mean, Maheshate's knockdown rate is okay. It's 0.95%. Mota's is higher. It's 1.55%. So it's
It's a
about,
no brainer.
yeah. And frankly, I'd probably have Motta modeled higher here if a lot of the consensus pick. One of my model's inputs is consensus picks from Topology. Lots of Maheshate love here. He's gotten a lot of love in various spots before. Like somehow I think Slavokov was like only minus 180. It was something ridiculous against Maheshate, and he ended up dropping him 3 times. Like I feel
Yeah.
like Maheshate is always a little bit overvalued.
And you know how I feel about Slavokov, bro. I think he's overrated.
Yeah,
I think this. I'm starting to get sold more and more on a Moto KO here. I
yeah.
like that. I like that number.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if I'm technically there, like from a value perspective, but the data is small here. I'm not beholden to my model's result. Yeah, I've got Motta KO plus 460, so it's a little bit off, but like these guys
Yeah.
are still very early into their career. It's not like I'm modeling a main event here, so
Yeah.
I think I could be sold on that for sure. I think he does crack him.
Yep. All right.
Alrighty. Why don't we move
We'll
on
flip
here
back.
to this next fight? Maybe you can help me understand this betting line as well. It's one I've been waiting on all week here. Xiao Wang coming off the road to UFC loss against, gosh, I can't remember his first name, but he faced Choi on that card in, gosh, man, I'm blanking on Zhao Long's last fight, but we know Kang Lee's last fight. Takes the short notice fight against Chris Gutierrez. Ends up going the distance there in a fight where you and I had inside the distance. I was even maybe thinking a sub. Zhao Long fought Chang Ho Lee. That was on the Whitaker Alaskarov card in Saudi Arabia. So that was the fight that opened that Whitaker Alaskarov card. I didn't think it was super high level. And now I'm a little bit concerned that like I'm laying chalk here against Kang Lee, a guy that just went the distance with Chris Gutierrez. I seriously think this might be
Yeah,
closer to a pass, bro.
I remember that Gutierrez fight because I'm pretty sure I
Yeah.
was on Gutierrez finish, and he just couldn't get him out of there. He didn't really need to.
Hmm.
It was just a 3-round decision, right? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And he was on a nice win streak before that, but
Mhm. He
I
had a
don't know. I'm
decent setup
struggling.
spot for the contender series, and then he comes off, fights Gutierrez anyway. Like I at this number, bro, I would lean Kang Lee. I think he's got better high level experience. I feel like he performed admirably in that Gutierrez fight. In fact, he didn't really defend a takedown in that fight, which is kind of a tough story. But honestly, that road to UFC fight, one of the worst fights I've ever seen in the octagon. Like those both of those guys were just sloppily chasing takedowns. I don't know how I feel about Xiao Long
Yeah,
and his ability to mount any sort of consistent offense against like anyone that's any good. So I I think it's underdog or pass, but I can't tell you what to do, man.
yeah. I'm just pass here, but I would lean dog.
Yeah, I lean dog too. Why don't we? We'll keep these moving. By the way, we know we're not going to sit here and pretend to be the show that has broken down all of the film, and that's not what Maddie and I do. We got a few other ventures, football and a like going on. But how about this next fight up, Maddie? I at least heard a little bit from you earlier this week about it. Lonnie Kavanagh coming off a very impressive knockout. I believe it was the opening fight of Dana White's Contender Series, if I remember correctly. It was definitely earlier in the season. And now Kavanagh, in what he has claimed to be his home country, I'll get to that more in a minute, takes on Jose Ochoa, who's a newcomer from LFA. Ochoa was supposed to be on the Contender Series as well, taking on Jack Duffy. So I actually already have a bet in this fight. I laid it down. I was surprised as I dove into tape because we don't really have any data here, what I uncovered. But do you think Kavanaugh at minus 325 is a worthwhile favorite? Like, do you like him that much in general against pretty much anyone in the division?
I mean, he's kind of like the favorite. I think he's one of I think he's one of the favorite bet-in angles on this card for a lot of people, just because like he's got the flashy hands, he's quick,
Yeah.
he got the knockout power.
Yep.
Um, but I was looking at this fight a little bit more once you had texted me, and I was like, what is Austin seeing here? So I don't know, bro. I was actually considering a decision play here because
Yeah.
you had mentioned this might be a harder fight for him than everyone realizes, and he might not be able to get him out of there.
Yeah.
And maybe a decision play. I don't even know what that number is right now, but
I,
I want to hear from you what you like.
Yeah, so I'll take a look, man, and it's like I have a feeling that these odds are going to continue to drop. It was up to plus 285. You could have Ochoa on you could have had Ochoa on Sunday. He's down to plus 250, and like Ochoa trains with Shooter Box and Diego Lima, and actually your guy Gilbert Burns was on the call for his last fight. I turned it on at LFA. He was taking on another guy from Brazil, and like it was tornado of dynamite from the opening bell. He dropped with a front kick. He eventually latched onto an anaconda choke that he finished the fight with me. Both of these guys undefeated. We really haven't seen any sort of flaws or weaknesses. Kavanaugh has high level tape even from across in the Cage Warriors, right? And I think this is a super high level fight for kind of intro level flyweight. And so, like, if you're like, I think I'm leaning more length, I am too. I can't see one of these guys completely putting the other out. I think they're too
Yeah,
skilled, too well rounded. I took a stab at Ochoa because I knew the number was going to go down. I think rather than Ochoa's money line, the better bet here is probably the plus 3.5 spread. Which, like, if you like Kavanagh decision, we can see what it is here. I'll read it off in a minute, but like, I think it's a close fight. And at plus 270, I was willing to take that dart, even though I'd probably line Kavanagh a favorite still as well. Like, it's not like I feel like he's a fraud or going to get fraud checked or anything like that. I could have sworn I was going to be on him in his debut, but Ochoa is a bad dude. This is a great fight. I think it would be my fight of the night if I was still handing that out. But Maddie, how about Kavanagh points here plus 185, the second most likely
What's
outcome?
Ochoa points? Out of curiosity.
It is plus 700, bro.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's a close fight too. I really do. That's a crazy number.
Let's see what we could get Fight Goes the Distance at. So Fight Goes the Distance is plus 120. So like even if you don't pick a winner, if you go there and neither guy ends up finishing each other.
Over 2.5 is like probably like even money.
Minus 112, so it's a pick 'em on either side pretty much. So I was actually going to look at Ochoa sub here. It's 13-1. Like that was my stab because he gets a sub in his last fight. And my biggest thing about Kavanagh, trains with Great Britain, the Manchester top team, the Leon Edwards gym, and things like that. Historical struggles with grappling, right? And 0 pro wins or losses via submission in Cage Warriors. They don't really grapple much in that promotion. And Ochoa's a guy that grabbed an anaconda in his front. He's training with, you name your shoot a box flyweight prospect. It could be Dos Santos, Felipe Dos Santos. It could be, God, I mean, they have so many guys at that 125-35 stable, even Lacerda. I think Ochoa is at least a really good grappler. That's my prio on him. So I think 13-1 is way too distant here. Maddie's arriving at the. Hey, this is perfect. This is meant to be. Maddie's arriving at the studio right now, so I'm glad he went on.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm about to be upstairs in a minute.
Yeah. So
Mike,
Maddie,
you can get it ready, Mike.
Yeah. So we'll get Maddie in here. But plus 17. Wow, Maddie's gonna want to see that when he gets in here. Hard Rock apparently has Ochoa sub. Ochoa sub is 17-1 at Hard Rock.
Oh shit! I kind of like the Ochoa sub.
Yeah, that was kind of my lean. I was gonna dart sub based on Kavanagh. Like the one thing I don't have to check in Kavanagh's box is grappling defense at this point.
Yeah, it's a crazy number.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'm coming on, bro.
All right, sounds good. Mike, can we flash that comment up there about whenever my model, you're going to lose a ton of money? Was there anybody in the chat that lost a lot of money on Bo Nickel plus 800 last week? How about Rufy sub decision plus 185? I just wondering how much money everybody lost last week.
Do I got any energy drinks, bro? I need some energy, dude.
Yeah.
Brad, can you get me a drink, bro?
Yeah. So, Maddie, how about that? First time I think we've ever come to a long shot sort of dart while you were walking upstairs to the studio. If you like Ochoa sub, I think it's too long at 13-1. I'd probably put it closer to 7 to 8-1.
I do too. That's a huge number.
Yeah,
that's a huge number, but we shall see.
Yeah, this whole card is a we shall see. I think it's educated guesses. This will be my smallest UFC card of the year. I'm very certain of that. As we sit here, I basically have no action as we sit right now. But why don't we move on to the next fight? We'll keep it moving for everybody so we don't just jibber jabber. But how about this next fight up here? We've got this is the start of the road to UFC prelims. Okay, so we have a flyweight, a bantamweight, and a women's strawweight road to UFC finale all on this card here. So minimal data. These guys haven't faced anybody in UFC. It doesn't put me in a very good spot. But the first fight we're going to talk about here is Su Young Yu taking on Balgin Jenisuly. And there are very, very different ways that this is spelled. This is the correct topology spelling. UFC has something different, but Bergang Jelyisi, we'll just go with that nickname however you find it spelled. We know who it is. He's the guy opposite Su Young Yu. So, Maddie, had you had time to dig into this one at all about like a particular lean on a side? This is the 135 finish.
Yeah, no, I didn't spend a single second on this fight, so I don't want to act like I did. So I'll lean towards your model here.
I don't obviously think I would get a bad result if I modeled here. I think
Yeah,
that just anecdotally, Su Young Yu, a guy that was very good with his takedowns on road to UFC, 6 of them per 15 minutes, 63% accuracy. Interestingly enough, Jill Yisi, some of the best takedown defense in this 135 division on the show at 80%. So really, it comes down to is Su Young Yu, easy for me to say, going to get his takedowns going in this fight. I think the answer could be yes. It could be no. It's pretty much a pass for me. I would straight pick you in this spot, but it is with very little confidence, and I won't be betting this fight.
fair enough. Fair
Alrighty,
enough.
let's move forward. We can probably get through these. Here's the next one at flyweight. This is Dong-Hoon Choi taking on Kiru Sahota. And this fight now at pick'em. It was a little bit distant, but now we've moved in a spot where Sahota has closed the gap, and it is a true pick your fighter battle at flyweight here. Another interesting stylistic battle. The data on these two fighters compared to what you see on tape is kind of interesting as well, Maddie. So had you had a chance to look at either of these guys?
So Huda was from
India.
mm, Dong-Hoon Choi. Hold on, I'm looking. It's a pick'em now. Who was
Yep.
the favorite
So
originally?
Choi was the favorite. Choi was about minus 125 yesterday. I'm glad I didn't fire.
Yeah,
And Sahota has now closed to a pick 'em. He was the slight underdog here. It's been
yeah.
generally moving his way.
He's got a huge reach disadvantage in this fight.
Yes.
5'10 to 5'5", 73 inches to 66 and a half.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I have no idea, bro. No
Uh,
idea.
One of my favorite angles is that I love to fade line movement in UFC, so that could be a possible chance for this with Choi. But realistically, I think it's interesting this line is moving towards Sahota, but not really. Like the guys that, frankly, I hate to be mean to y'all, but have been losing money all summer with some of the film technical analysis. They're gonna love this Sahota guy because he's very rangy, uses his kicks well. He kind of reminds me of like a flyweight Sean Woodson, in my opinion.
Ooh.
The problem is that Sean Woodson has really good takedown defense, and this guy does not. It's 50%
Yeah.
analytically. He did struggle with that against guys who were willing to take him to the ground, and he didn't really show a lot of power. So I think it's interesting that Choi's striking peripherals, 9 percentage points better striking accuracy, 13 percentage points better striking defense, were better despite the fact that he doesn't have the same reach that Sahota does. I feel like he's the better pocket boxer in this fight. I feel like he's got the grappling upside. As this line continues to shift, if I can get Choi at plus money, I think I am going to take a small dart.
Yeah.
I think Sahota is one of those guys that film guys are going to fall in love with, but there are a lot of tangible issues with his skill set, in my opinion, that could prevent winning fights.
Yeah. Yeah. Choi by decision is plus 195.
Mm-hmm. Is that the shortest outcome, or is Sahota by decision now shorter?
Plus 210 for Sahota.
Okay.
Um,
And so this fight overwhelmingly likely to go the distance. It's minus 176 to do so. I can see that. Sahota didn't show a lot of power. Um, I think the only thing is Choi's submission could be an interesting angle, but he didn't show one on the
plus
show.
1600.
Yeah, I mean he didn't show one on the show, so it's kind of tough
Yeah.
to. I do think he'll grapple in
There's
this
not a
fight,
lot of
but
submission opportunities on this
yeah,
card, for being honest.
yeah. Just by location and style, we know about Chinese MMA. There's just not a lot of there's not a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert. It's typically a lot of wrestling. It's a lot of striking.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true.
trying to be xenophobic. I'm just saying tendencies by area. It's
Yeah,
much more
that's
a
true.
striking
Thanks, sir.
base of a country for MMA. We got Maddie an energy drink. That's what's up. But
Yeah, I'm back.
um,
I'm back.
want to shout out our guy Mushroom MMA, always
I love
bringing the
that
vibes.
sound.
Can we throw a mushroom up there? Mushroom MMA always bringing the vibes. And by the way, some of you guys waiting at the gate with awesome comments talking about hitting the parlay. We love our loyal listeners that'll show up whenever it is that we manage to do the show because of South Florida traffic, and who knows where poor Maddie's going to be caught in traffic.
And then we got guys like this right here. Maddie Betts is using wired earphones in 2024. It's embarrassing. Bro, you know how long it's been since I had a cycle parlay? I can't afford fucking wireless headphones, bro. It's been like a month.
It's been like 5 weeks. I was also going to say, have you ever heard of sound quality? You got to get in the biz, but it's getting to a spot where I might bet Choi here, bro. Again, very minimal confidence. Like this
Yeah.
is not my world. This is more like the Contender Series, if anything.
Yeah, fair. All right.
Okay.
Last fight on the prelims, right?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, and I actually there's actually one more fight on the prelims.
Oh, there's two more.
Carlos
there's two.
Hernandez. Yeah. So, Feng Xiaocan taking on Ming. This is the women's strawweight division, which I think is an interesting division because obviously Weili is a role model to this country, and Yan Jiaonan is in the co-main event. They're both very famous women's strawweights, and so this division is probably most talented relative to UFC from China as any other. Both of these ladies representing China, but Feng Xiaocan, one of the bigger favorites on the card. She's minus 385 here, Maddie. Obviously, I think it's going to be tough for you and I to parlay that number, knowing virtually nothing about her. But
Yeah.
I did dive in a little bit. I was intrigued, and I do think she's a good favorite here. But like, you have any interest in a dog sprinkle at all?
Hold on, bro. Please tell me I'm reading this right.
Okay.
This chick lost to Na Lian by armbar back in 2020.
You talking about the Ming?
Yeah. No. I'm talking about the favorite.
Really?
She lost to Na Lian. That's the Na Lian who
Na Lian's kind of a savage
in the UFC, bro. Badly losing 3 fights. Arm triangle, ground and pound, punches, ground and pound. That chick submitted the minus 380 favorite here, bro. I might have to auto fade her just out of principle.
Yeah. Does it make you feel better that she was 18 years old when that happened, though? Feng was.
I mean, she still lost to Lanian, bro. Or not? Yeah. So what's she now? 22?
Yes, she's
22 years old now.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I think I got to take a dog shot here.
I mean,
on
it's certainly. I'm certainly.
Min Shi has 6 wins by submission, bro. 6 wins by submission for Min Shi.
She's 13-1 by submission.
Oh my God! Sign me up for that. Sign me up for a quarter unit, even if we don't put it in the cycle parlay. You got to sign me up.
Maddie, she was 18 years old.
I don't care, bro. I don't care.
She's
a rear naked. This girl's a rear naked choke 2 years ago.
That's true. So Ming went to a decision, both fights in Road to UFC. Funny enough, 0 takedowns, 0 submissions in those fights. So
hey, just think about how big the 13-1 would pay in the sub parlay.
Yeah.
Nikolas Motta plus 360 by knockout. Min Shi by submission at plus 1300. And then I got the decision lock of the card coming up. I think Austin's gonna hate my decision play, but
it's so funny you say this because I like Feng Xiaocan. I was gonna play inside the distance. It's plus 380 here, bro. I think she's just better everywhere. I was very impressed. She had plus 4.93 striking success rate going through the show. I don't think she did get a finish. She did.
Remember,
she got one.
When it's
she got
5 in the morning, 5 a.m. Eastern time, and I have a fucking black iced coffee in my hand. And I have a Min Shi by submission ticket, 2,000 to win 28,000. It's gonna be electric, bro. It's gonna be 5 in the morning. I'm gonna be betting on Min Shi by submission. It's gonna be so hype, dude. I remember when I bet on what was the Singapore?
Absolutely not
the Singapore card. I was here in my studio at 4 a.m. betting on women's MMA, bro. I felt like the biggest degenerate in the world.
Did you have JJ Aldridge inside the distance for that one?
Yeah, I had. That was against lead. That was against.
Not lead. Yeah,
not bro. That's the girl I'm talking about. That was against her, dude, and it was a sweat. Yeah. She took forever to get her out of there. It was like I think I played 2-3 and I hit it.
Yeah.
JJ Aldridge finished her, bro. That girl finished Feng right here. I'm sorry, I don't care if she was 14 or 18 or 19 years old.
You don't think she's been able to practice armbar defense in the last 4 years?
I don't know. Now she's gonna get rear naked choked, bro. Look at that neck, dude. Look at the neck on the fucking graphic, bro. She got a giraffe neck, dude. You got a
I will
giraffe.
say, as far as Ming she's only been finished twice as a pro. One time was due to knees to the body. The next time, rear naked choke in her second pro fight, all the way back in 2016. Which is why this fight's so likely to go the distance. But I just think Fang's a lot better. When I look at the analytics, which is the world I live in now,
Yeah.
um, I, 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 I don't know. Do chat, who is crazy? Is it me taking Feng Xiaocan inside the distance plus 380, or is it Maddie's dart at Ming Shi? Like, which one do we like better?
I mean, as long as you're not taking minus 385, then
No.
there's no madness to this. Like, if you take minus 385 in this fight, though, you deserve to lose every fucking penny to your name, bro.
Via submission. It's interesting that points is minus 165 here. Like, I don't understand that logic in that this is low level women's MMA. If Feng Xiaocan is good enough to be a minus 400 favorite, why is inside the distance plus 380? These girls are not very talented in the grand scheme of MMA, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are weaknesses on both sides here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm. All right. Well, we'll have
that's so
we'll have
funny.
to think. We'll have to
Maddie, if you
think
do
on it.
that, what I learned in that fight, Maddie and I drink coffee the same way, black cold brew every time.
Yeah.
um,
Minshi by submission. I just want to make a video on that so bad.
can
It's
you
gonna
imagine if it hits? You just cracked that up right there after you got out of your limo. And you will,
Minshi. She
if that
her.
hits, can make sure you have wireless earphones, okay? To please Amir earlier, if that hits, Ming Shi by sub, you bring wireless earphones in. So, why don't we move on to the next fight here? Because I think it's the one at least we're talking about. This is the
Oh,
last of
we
our
got
prelims.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carlos Hernandez taking on Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. Easy enough for me to say. I was practicing that one all week, Maddie, just for you and I. But this one, an interesting fight where it feels like Carlos Hernandez. I hate to like say this so plainly, but doesn't it feel like they keep trying to feed him to Asian grapplers? First it was Tatsuro Taira, then it was
Yeah.
Ray Saruya, and now it's Nyamjargal.
Yeah.
This time it was wild line movement. Offshore, Tumen Dembrell upward to like minus 370.
Yeah.
Carlos Hernandez got up to minus 205 or so at some point, and now it's
Yeah.
coming back a little bit the other way. There is crazy line movement in this fight. I think it's interesting from that betting perspective. But what do you think about the matchup here? Like, do you think Hernandez, is this his time to finally get back in the winner's circle at minus 188?
First of all, can you pronounce this dude's name again for me? I want to hear it.
Nyamjargal Tumendembrel.
That's impressive, bro. I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm taking Nyamjargal by submission here, bro. By submission, I think this is a perfect spot to the sub lay right here. You know,
Okay.
Tatsuro Taira didn't even need to sub this dude Hernandez because he was just able to fucking put him to the ground and just hold him and then ground strikes. I think
Yep.
I was looking at both submission numbers on this one.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to seek a submission leg for this cycle leg here. And
Yeah.
it's not easy to find one. I think this could be the spot. What do you think about that?
I love it. Tumen Dembro inside the distance is one of the plays that I was going to have for you. Is plus
Yeah.
270.
Plus
And
550 on the sub.
basically I think it is my thesis on it is ground finish. He's going to be a lot bigger. Now, his nickname is the Art of Knockout, so that's a little concerning that we're going sub, but
Yeah.
I think he does. If he doesn't have any pro wins by sub on road to UFC, how about this? 3.7 submission attempts per 15 minutes. So huge tendency toward looking for subs. I think, Maddie, if we wanted to find a sub in the cycle A, I like this one. And Hernandez, look, frankly, I think he's very
Yeah.
skilled. I think he's very durable. I think he's very game. But the thing is he's just kind of small. He can be out physical. And the guy was in a life or death battle with Dennis Bondar that he ended up winning. But like
Yeah.
at some point, I just don't know if he's got the traits to separate at the UFC level. Whereas Tumen
Yeah.
Dembrell, this guy was originally matched with God, I'm trying to remember who he was matched with. It was a killer de force in this division, and he was going to be the favorite. I'm looking
Who?
it up right. So Andre Lima, he was matched with Andre Lima, bro, in
Oh,
his UFC debut. That fight ended up falling out, and now
yeah.
Hernandez. You think about the difference in size between those two
Oh,
dudes;
yeah.
it's just
Yeah, I like inside
enormous.
the distance a lot. I almost think we might force. Why is he such a big dog, though? I don't understand that. I really like his money line more than anything.
Yeah. I maybe it's just lack of high level experience, and you say Hernandez has been there, done that, got the T-shirt, but like Is his
Yeah.
experience even that great? Like, because he's been on a couple of losses by landslide.
Yeah,
Dennis
nah.
Bondar wasn't really a UFC level guy. The thing that always gets me, he had a very close fight with Victor Altamirano years ago. I think if you rematch those guys, though, I think Altamirano wins more comfortably than not. Like, I like Victor
Yeah,
a lot. I was
I do
on him
too.
in that fight, so
Yeah, I do
um,
too.
No, I'm definitely Nyamjargal money line. We'll have to contemplate whether we want that on the sub or not. But I like his money line. I like his finish
yeah,
prop for sure.
yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I think it's a ground finish, and like, look, this is the featured prelim. This guy's from Mongolia. It's in Macau, China. Like, the
Yeah.
writing seems to be on the wall, and I don't understand it because he opens offshore minus 370 or something. I think he should be like maybe a minus 140 favorite here. Does that sound
Dude, that's
appropriate to
like
you?
the perfect number. I thought he should be a
Yeah,
slight favorite. This is mind boggling to me.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is that sharps love about Hernandez. Maybe it's just that how well Hernandez, I think, fought in that Saruya fight versus expectation, but we don't know shit about Ray Saruya at this point. And
Yeah.
Tumendemberel, equally big, equally physical, and honestly, probably a little bit more with his hands to offer because he had a plus 0.81 striking success rate on road to UFC. So I like
Yeah.
Tumendemberel here.
Let's do it.
How about that? Let's keep the vibes high, bro. We got
Oh.
Tumendemberel, and now we're up onto the main card. We start to get some more of the established UFC fighters, and it'll be at a time where I might actually be up for these fights here. Carlos Ulberg taking on Volkan Oezdemir. This is sort of a fringe title eliminator sort of fight at 205. There's big stakes for a fight that's buried right here. Maddie Ulberg minus 260, Oezdemir plus 205 here. What do you think about this fight? Because like I certainly think there's an argument for both guys.
Volkan Oezdemir money line and by knockout. Give me
Okay.
him all fucking day. I like his boxing way better than Carlos Holberg. Carlos Holberg's got great kickboxing. I think he's a little soft though. Truthfully, I think he's a little soft. I think
Ulberg?
Oezdemir. Yeah, I just think like mentality wise, and I just think Oezdemir, bro. The shots. I know it's Johnny Walker. I get that, but this dude flatlined him cold, bro. And again, I know it's Johnny Walker, but I just think he's super underrated. Like I think he only loses to the best guys in the division. And I just don't think Olberg's there yet. I think it's disrespectful to make Uzdemir a 2-1 dog here.
Yeah, I certainly will say I wasn't overly surprised by my model result here, so I was able to model guys and like, look, you guys can keep this in the back of your mind of whether or not you want to add any validity to it because I'm not immune to being laughed at. My model would favor Carlos Ulberg over Alex Pereira. So take that for what it's worth. It's just because of the high level
Wait,
offense.
say that again. Say that
My
again.
model would favor Carlos Ulberg over Alex Pereira.
Just based off of striking metrics
Just
and
based off of his
accuracy and
striking accuracy. It's not only that, it's his volume, it's his accuracy. He's got elite takedown defense, by the way, as well, which isn't really a factor for this fight, but maybe some other matchups at 205 as well. He's got a plus 3.81 striking success rate, which again is striking output minus striking input. Incredibly high level, but like you said, Maddie, it's like you think he's kind of soft. It's because he comes into UFC, he has these vulnerable moments, right? Like he was knocked out by Kennedy and Zechku in a fight that he was dominating, but kind of showboating a little bit, ends up getting caught by a Kennedy left hand, and it was night. And then Ulberg takes on Fabio Charant, a guy who had no UFC success whatsoever, and he goes all 15 minutes with him. And I feel like Ulberg is this guy. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's a guy that a lot of people are fading consistently now, thinking that he's a little bit overhyped, that he's a little bit like not legitimate, even though my model says that like when you look at his striking data it should be pretty legitimate. So I have Ulberg minus 215 here, not showing value on the money line compared to minus 260, but I've got knockout minus 185 for him. I think a vast majority of the time if he does win this fight it is KO and it's plus 150, so I think Ulberg by KO at plus 150 is a pretty good bargain. But if you want to play fight no distance because you think Ulberg's a little chinny, I think that's not a bad like.
what's that number right now? Actually, it's not a bad
Yeah,
look.
if we're talking like safe parlay, it's minus
Uzdemir's gonna
186
bring
for
the
half
fight
of
to
it
him,
is.
so he's
I
either
think
gonna
so
get.
too.
I think he's either gonna get countered,
Yeah,
bringing the fight to Ulberg, or he's gonna put Ulberg away. But
yeah,
I like. I'm telling you what, man. I'm not underestimating Volkan Uzdemir. I think he can do it.
Yeah, so this fight is minus 186 to not go the distance. I've got it minus 460 to not go the distance. It's a
That's
big difference.
crazy.
No, I don't. But I just don't see any way that Oezdemir. It's a tough fight for me to see going the distance because I think if Oezdemir's having success in the pocket, Ulberg is shown to be a little chinny. I think if Carlos gets his offense going, Oezdemir's a guy that has a few UFC losses by KO.
Yeah.
So I get it when you look at these guys' knockdown rates and how many knockouts and how often they put guys on the canvas when they swing.
Oezdemir by knockouts plus 500, and him by decisions plus 500 too. Wow.
I prefer
Oezdemir
KO.
by submission plus 1600. That's crazy.
Now, interestingly enough, my motto basically said, yeah, right, with the you remember when Ulberg subbed Dawoon Jung? It really is not saying that he's got any chance to sub Oezdemir. It looked at that result as kind of a fluke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure.
I think he was hurt and he was able to get it. But I think Ulberg KO is a good value. Maybe we find some middle ground on the under. But I understand the Oezdemir angle. I really do. By the way, he's a guy that's fought much higher level competition. He's got much more experience. Like, there are positives in Volkan's direction.
Fair enough.
All right, let's move forward here and talk about the next fight up on the card, which is our largest favorite.
The Joker.
I love this chick, bro. The
I
Joker,
do too.
Kong
I
Wang.
hit big at the Circa on her round 1 finish last fight.
Yeah,
It was electric.
And she absolutely floored Victoria Leonardo. And Wang Kong is actually someone that has a win over Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing. Like, she's been on the combat sports radar for a long time. I think there's a reason she's on the main card here against Gabriela Fernandes, who in her own right is really trying to grind through her own UFC career and says, don't put me out quite yet. Wang Kong minus 800 here, the largest favorite on the card. We'll dive into some of her numbers here, bro. But what do you think? Do you think maybe she puts Fernandes away? Is this more of a points look, or does it depend on the number?
I'll tell you what, bro. I can get the Joker at plus 270 by knockout right now.
Whoa.
It's hard to not just say, fuck that. Let's just put that in the cycle. Let's close our eyes, put it in the cycle. I don't care who the opposition is. Until she proves she ain't knocking someone out, I want to take her by knockout every time at that type of plus money.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic number for this chick. I think we have to do it.
Man, I kind of lean that way too. Now, I will say a little scary that she showed a submission tendency on. This is why I talked you into round instead of like round 1 KO, and you maybe shaved a few points off. But 7.3 submission attempts per 15, limited time through road to UFC. I think plus 130 inside the distance is sick on her in this spot, and nobody loses more on women's MMA unders and stuff than I do, but I think Wang is different, bro. Like, when she connects, it is different, and she's barely taken any damage whatsoever. Like, she's been on such a different plane than any of the girls she's faced thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything about Fernandes that makes you feel like she's like any sort of different than who she's fought thus far? Like, I guess she
went the distance with Jasmine. She went the distance with Jasmine. Yeah. It was a unanimous decision loss. I mean, she does lose decisions. She's 4-3 in decisions.
Yeah.
So I think that's the argument there. She's durable. She can. I mean, minus 800, if anything, might be cheap on her. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
I don't really see a path for Fernandes.
Yeah, so
she loses on the scorecards.
Mm-hmm.
She beat Yasmin Lucindo back in 2018. Let me guess, Austin. She was like 14 then.
Yeah, probably.
Lucindo was
probably like 23 now.
That's what I'm saying. That was back in 2018.
And Lucindo's
she submitted. She submitted Lucindo.
Lucindo's a strawweight too.
No, I know, but that's crazy though, right? That she submitted Lucindo. So that was back in 2018. Yeah. Lucindo's 22 right now. So do the math. She was 16.
Hey, what? Is it even legal to fight somebody who's underage?
She was
like
16. That? She was actually 16 when she lost that fight, Lucindo.
Yeah, I don't care about that at all.
What? Now that, holy shit, that's crazy.
I think that it's more likely that Wang subs Fernandes than the other way around in this fight, like by a lot.
Yeah.
I honestly
I think she's not going to mess with it. I think this is a perfect textbook KO matchup. I don't think we should overthink it.
I agree with
you. She
you.
starches her, bro.
I agree with you. I'm
in on that.
I will make my primary play here inside the distance, but I am in with you.
But are you in on? You're in on the cycle on this one?
I'm in on it. and I
Because what
prefer
else? What
to
other
Motta.
KO is there that we would prefer? You know, I
Motta.
mean,
Motta.
there's Motta and there's
Yeah.
Oezdemir. You're not gonna like the Oezdemir one.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the Motta one, but I would.
I think I'd
I
rather
mean,
take Cong.
the I would rather take Con too because Motta could get starched himself. We don't have that fear with Con, and we're only paying a little bit less, or we're only getting a little less of odds on that. It's plus 270 compared to what plus 360.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I
So,
I I
like,
I think my fear though, dude, is that I'm like, okay, well, I think Wang Kong could grapple in this fight, but I don't think she's gonna need to, bro. I think she
I
can
don't
put her out
either.
in one. I do on your card. Could you see
Yeah,
yourself playing 1-2 again?
100%.
Okay, I that's kind of the way I lean to.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're in. Wang
We're in.
KO
I'm in.
is leg number one of the cycle for sure. It
So
may or may not be leg number one. It's going to be at least leg one or two, depending on if we go
so
backwards and pick
really,
something.
we'll think about a decision here. But what about Tumendemberel submission?
Oh, fuck yes. I forgot about that. I'm in, bro.
So now we just got to find a
Hold on,
decision.
hold on. Remember, we were hesitant though. Let's
I
not lock
am
that in
hesitant.
yet
Okay.
because we'd like
Okay.
to finish. Let's not lock that in yet. But
Okay.
yes, I'm on a desperate card submission wise. We might have to though.
Okay.
We might have
We'll,
to.
we'll look at it. But why don't we move on to this third fight here? And I don't know if we'll play a submission angle from this fight here between
Fuck no.
Muslim Salikhov and Song Kenan. Good for Song, by the way. Third to last to walk in his home country here. A guy that's been kind of really. You look at his UFC tenure. He has lost to the people he's supposed to lose to. He's beaten the people he's supposed to beat. Like he is the ultimate roster gatekeeper. And then Muslim Salikhov is a guy that is coming off a kind of a controversial split decision win over Santiago Ponzinibbio. That was the fight card in Denver. A lot of people thought he
Yeah.
lost the fight. It was a very close fight throughout, but Salikhov is a guy that I've kind of struggled to bet, so I kind of want to lean on your expertise and see if I'm crazy here because my model result makes a lot of sense to me, but
Yeah.
it's not exactly one I feel comfortable. What do you think about this fight, buddy?
I mean, I think Salikhov has gotten some good matchups and then some really tough matchups. You know, like Nicholas Dalby's a fucking dog, right? He kind of
Yep.
outworks him. Randy Brown just has crazy reach, good
Yep.
power. You know, he catches Salikhov in round one. It is what it is. In the Fialho fight, he looks great. I thought he looked great in the Fialho fight. He didn't put him away as fast as he maybe should have, but I thought he looked very good in that fight. Santiago Ponzinibbio, I thought both guys looked kind of slow in that fight.
Yep.
I wasn't impressed with either of them.
It was an old guy fight for sure.
It was an old guy fight. And the question we have to ask ourselves here is Kenan Song kind of like an old guy too at this point, you know, or like do we still believe in? I mean, he's only 34, but
Yeah.
we have to ask ourselves is like, does he still feel like he's in his prime? I mean, he took Ricky Glenn to a decision in the
It was
last
crazy.
fight.
Glenn lasted to the end of that fight, man. He
Yeah,
was getting.
I'll tell you one thing. I do believe in Song's durability for the most part.
Mhm.
So it's not crazy to look at Salikhov to just outpoint him here. Tell me about Song's striking volume because I think Salikhov is a much higher volume guy, right?
It's the opposite. So
Is it
Song,
really?
yeah. So Song's about 1.5 strikes more per minute as far as a higher
Wow,
land rate.
that's
Which is
crazy.
so Song is a guy that has had trouble at distance with other guys. Like Kevin Jusay was a much more active fight. Ian
Yeah,
Gary was an active fighter, ended up knocking him out late. Rolando Bedoya actually outstruck him as well. But like he's not a super high volume guy. But the thing about Salikhov that drives me nuts and how he goes to a split decision with like Francisco Trinaldo, he's just not very high volume. And it's like he's going to live in split decisions if he can't get his wrestling going. Both these guys have takedown defenses over 70%.
yeah.
I love Song here, dude. I think KO decision's probably not going to be much different than his money line, so maybe you do take the ML stab. But I've got Song at plus 105. He's the younger guy, less attrition, significantly more power. And I know you kind of hate this angle. You remember when he dropped Ian Gary, right? Like you hate betting guys that have that big explosive moment against like
Yeah,
a star. But that's kind of who Song's been his whole career. He's been a guy that maybe doesn't have the best volume, but he does have power in certain spots. So I think in his home country, he certainly looked motivated and good in that Bedoya fight in Singapore. I feel like he looked better in that fight than I've seen him relative to others, and maybe he pulls out a different gear in China again. I like Song money line here, but
Mm.
my model actually likes decision.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'd feel kind of nervous leaving KO behind though.
Yeah, no, it's I wouldn't be surprised at any single outcome in this fight as far as either guy by knockout, either guy by decision.
Yeah,
Um,
a sub would surprise me on either
yeah,
side.
agreed.
But
Yeah, Kenan by points is plus 320.
okay, Salikhov by
Salikhov
points
by
is
points plus 185.
okay.
But I mean, if Kenan has the better volume,
Yeah,
6 years younger in his country, maybe the scorecards, maybe the judges.
yeah.
I don't hate the plus 320 points, but I have another decision one I want to sell you before we decide.
Okay, okay.
Um, the only other thing is, wouldn't we be taking all dogs here in the
Yeah,
cycle?
yeah.
Oh, either way, we're taking all dogs because mine's a dog too. Fuck.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's
Well,
actually pretty scary if you think
okay,
about it.
Maddie.
Have three dogs.
If you have a dog by points coming in, I love dog by points in the next fight. So we might be on the same exact page.
No.
Oh no, not this fight. Not this, no, not that fight. Yeah, maybe that one. So why don't we we'll talk about this one here.
Let's go. No,
Zhang
but hold
Yang,
on. Just
yeah,
generally speaking, is it
yeah.
crazy? It's hard enough to put 3 dog money lines in a parlay. Is it crazy to take 3 dogs by a specific outcome in a lay?
I mean no, because like think of it this way: Jim
The
Miller's
odds are the odds, right? Yeah.
Jim Miller's sub last week was shorter than Mauricio Rufy's sub, right? And like there was a reason
Oh,
for it.
I
Right?
like it. Yeah, we gotta put Mike. We gotta put a nice little dog on the fucking cycle graphic. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, the dog cycle parlay. Well, we took X-rays. This show's filled with dogs. So why don't we talk about this fight? Zhang Ming Yang taking on Ozzy Diaz. I think it's a quick discussion, but like Maddie, Ozzy Diaz coming off his only fight in the UFC affiliated sphere was that Dana White Contender Series loss to Joe Piper. That came at 185. He's moving up here to face a guy that I got to find a nickname for because Zhang Ming Yang absolutely destroyed Brendan Ribeiro in his first fight here.
Oh, hell
Um,
yeah. No, 100%.
like so he's a minus 340 favorite here. It'll be an interesting fight to dive into props, but you like a dog shot here, or is this one of the few
Nah.
favorites we're going to take confidently so far?
Yeah, no. Give me this. Give me this dude's a fucking dog, bro. Now, do you like early or late though on the finish? Because I
That's
kind
a
of feel like I kind of feel like a 2-3 might be live here.
why. What makes you say that?
I mean, honestly, it's more of a guess just because Diaz went a round and a half with Piper.
Okay.
Let me see. So it's more of a guess, but
Well, so I think also what plays into it is we got to ask ourselves, what do we think about like the finishing chances early versus late? Because you're going to pay the price for early after Ming Yang just knocked him out in a couple of minutes. Let's
yeah,
see, what is he to win by KO one here? I'm looking. He's my plus 145 to win by KO first round.
crazy. Yeah,
I
2-3
honestly
we're
feel
gonna
like
pay. What's
I
round
feel
two?
like so round two
Plus
is plus
650.
650 plus
That's
1,000
crazy,
for round three.
bro. Plus 650 is gonna fucking be insane.
It is gonna be one heck of a sweat for 5 minutes. Ozzy Diaz in that Piper fight, just a 44% striking defense. But honestly, Joe's a tank for 185. He is a big hitter for that division. So I is Ming Yang's power for real? Well, we really haven't seen anyone else put out Brunson Ribeiro like that, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
you and I liked Kyle Machado in that Ribeiro fight, but it didn't end up panning out for us. So we played too much into that fight, the angle of Ribeiro's durability, when it might just be Zhang Ming Yang is a hammer.
I think he is. His KO is minus 150.
Yeah.
You
Honestly, that almost feels kind of safe parlay though to me.
safe fish. Yeah. I mean, I'm down to do a KO parlay and a cycle parlay both.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of good KOs in this fight for sure. What do we got coming up? Yeah, it is safe. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. The safe
Yeah.
parlay backing up the Brinks truck. But Maddie, I am kind of with you that it feels like books are begging you to take that plus 145 round one KO with him because they're just dangling it out like a carrot on a stick. Yet KO is 60% implied. It's really really weird that those are so different. I might play a 2-3 angle here too, bro.
I'm about it. I like
think
it. Round two is.
that's a
I
good
think
one.
round two is hidden plus 650.
Yeah, my only fear is that Diaz moving up, terrible defense, just gets nuked. So maybe I just pay -150 like with 3 units and just call it a. I said I wasn't going to go hard at this card, but this is a fight I feel very confident in. Like I think
Bro,
Ming
you
Yang's a
gotta you
really
gotta
good
watch the
striker.
full card. If we hit a cycle late and you're
Yeah,
asleep, dude, that's gonna be. I mean, it would be cool to wake up to though.
that's true. Yeah. I wish I didn't work for FanDuel on the weekends. It might change things. But
Yeah.
why don't we move on to this next fight here? Co-main event time. Maddie's girl, Tabitha Ricci, taking on
By the
Xiaomin
way,
Yan.
she can't be my girl anymore, bro. Colin Wash follows me on Instagram now, so I'm down bad.
Oh, you are
But that's
down
my
bad.
boy though. He's a gambler.
Yeah.
I think he works. I think he works at your guy's enemy, DraftKings.
Oh, really? Really?
I've
Really?
seen him doing like DraftKings casino videos on Instagram. So, but he's a gambler, bro. I can tell. You know, how you can just tell when guys are gamblers. Like you just know. Like they
Yep.
follow all my stories closely, my content, and you can just tell they're gamblers.
Good.
He's a gambler, bro. But Tabitha Ricci is still kind of my girl though.
Yeah. So certainly Mr. and Mrs. Walsh there. She's gone quite the winning streak herself. So, not all of them have been super convincing, but Ricci's sort of surged into the top 10. Now the question is, how does Yan Jianan perform? Maybe a quick little study would be how girls that have just fought Weili have performed, because Weili is such a physical tank for this division. She ended up
Yeah.
not getting the win at UFC 300, but honestly, at one point she dropped Weili. Like there were moments in that fight where Xiaonan looked like she could have pulled the upset. So she's -200 in her home country here. What do you think about this fight at relative odds?
Yeah, I mean, look, bias aside, I think Ricci by decision is the play here. Like, I don't think she's going to be able to necessarily hold her down or put her away. But I think she can get takedowns in this fight. And it's a
Agreed.
3-round, it's 15 minutes. Just got to win 2 out of 3 rounds. And that decision money is nice. Let me pull up that number again, but I remember seeing it. It's well, it's plus 250. It's
That's
not
not bad though.
it's not crazy, but I mean, I don't see Ricci putting her away.
Not if
So, and
Weili
I
can.
think she's going to be very intentional, very safe on the feet, in and out with her striking, and then get the takedowns, get some control, gets a little bit of damage on the ground. I think it's a very close fight that goes the distance. And I'd rather be on the plus 250 by decision side than the -105 by
Yeah.
decision side. But I think Ricci's kind of a chick that'll drown you. Like she arguably is some of the best, I think, pace and cardio in this division. Like she's a workhorse in the gym. She's going to come forward. She's going to try to put a pace on her, get the takedowns when she can, and maybe just try to outstrike her a little bit, stay away from the big power. I think
Yeah.
she's live for a decision. I really do. I think it's the least popular dog play on the card too. I don't see anyone on her. I think, and
Really?
she's getting. Maybe I'm tripping, but I haven't seen people talking about taking her. Everyone thinks she's going to get popped on the feet, which is possible. But 29 years old, getting better every single fight. I think she can do it. I think it's going to be a very close decision, but I think she's gonna edge it out 29-28.
I mean, dude, like outside of Weili, Ricci should not be +160 to anybody in this division because of her style. I call it the Ricci quicksand, bro. Like it's just
Yeah.
this high paced, grind you against the cage, and Jan has not done a good job with her footwork of staying out of those situations. Like if it was a 3-round fight against Mackenzie Dern in their main event, she lost to Mac Dern. Mac Dern was winning that fight early, and then
Yeah.
Jan was able to take it over late. Like she had her in a couple of submission attempts. I'm with you, bro. My first play of the week was Tabitha Ricci here. I love this number. I've got Ricci at +105. Like I don't think how can she be +250 to win by decision in a fight that's like 80% likely to go the distance, right? And like
Yeah.
the underrated thing of Ricci, her only loss by finish in UFC was short notice up in weight to Manon Fiorot. That's it. She hasn't been
And
finished.
that ain't a bad fight. That ain't a. There's anyone to
Yeah,
lose to, it's her.
yeah. I
Renafior would beat up Jan on the feet. I think.
we may not cash our cycle parlay with Ricci points here, but I'll tell you what, I'll be darn glad I don't have -200 on Yan Xiaonan as this thing goes to the cards because
Yeah.
it reeks to me of a split decision. I would bet it if any book anywhere gave out a decent split decision number out nowadays. They're all like +240 or something super short, but
Yeah.
like
I mean, you got to tell me if you prefer that decision over like a Kenan Son.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm in on
Ricci
Ricci
points.
decision then. Let's put that in the cycle lay. I'm in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a good one, and like I know she's a plus 160 dog, but this fight feels like a coin flip, and this is what my model says as well. I saw that result. I'm like, I'm not surprised. I'm showing value on
And
Ricci.
tell me about Ricci's strike and defense. Like, what do you think about
58
it?
58% top 85 percentile for this division, minimum 15 fights
I think
or
she has
min
all the
15
tools to
minutes.
be. I think she's all the tools for this type of matchup. It's
Yeah,
not an easy matchup for her, but it's not an easy matchup for anyone in this division, including Wei Lee.
yeah.
Uh, but Ricci, I think, good in and out striking, can timely get takedowns, get control up against the cage. Like I think she can, wield her way to a decision win here.
You know what? Her last fight against Angela Hill was a big thing to me because the one thing she had not shown before that was an ability to win minutes on the feet at distance, and she did. She won certain minutes of that fight at distance. Like some people say Angela got robbed or whatever, but it was close and it was competitive. And Angie is someone who will throw numbers out there, so
Yeah,
I was very impressed in that fight.
fair enough.
So
We're aligned, bro. I thought you were gonna be on the other side, so I'm glad.
that was my first bet that I made this week. Is that I knew I was going to be on Ricci here, and the numbers moving our way, Maddie. So if you say the public loves Jan here, the numbers moving the other way. So that's great news.
Let's go.
All right,
Oh
so
wow.
main event time here, and I can't wait to hear your take on this because it's one I really struggle with because I talked about liking my model's result a couple. I hate its result here. I don't feel like it's right at all. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm flying solo, maybe I'm not. Piotr Jan back and taking on Davison Figueiredo. Both these guys fought earlier this year. Jan at UFC 299, Figueiredo at UFC 300. So we've seen them quite a bit recently. This kind of a title eliminator of sorts at bantamweight. It's 5 rounds, which I think is a big deal in terms of who ends up winning this fight.
Huge.
And it's a big difference. But bettors love themselves some Piotr Jan, scorned but not torn. Piotr Jan minus 290 in this fight. Figueiredo plus 225. What do you think of this one, buddy?
I'll tell you what, bro. I've gone back and forth on this fight a few different times. Figueiredo's actually really
Really?
impressed me. I didn't think anybody could drop Cheeto, and he did it. Cheeto's like Wolverine, bro. You
Yeah.
can't hurt him. You can't drop him. He dropped him. Say what you want about it. I think Figueiredo could have a lot of success early, but I think if Peter Yan wins 1 round out of 3, he's going to either win the last 2 rounds or he's going to get a finish in the last 2 rounds. And I think that's why
Okay.
this number is so wide. I don't think this number is this wide in a 3-rounder. I think he would be like minus 170, like literally that drastic of a difference
Yeah.
for Jan. So it's higher than 290 now, isn't it? Or no?
It is. Let's see. Yeah.
320. He's minus
Okay.
320 right now in FanDuel. So
Okay.
Davison is plus 245. I think I sent you in the Telegram those. You guys ready for this shit?
Yeah.
Jan round 4 KO plus 1600. Jan round 5 KO plus 2000. We saw him TKO Jose Aldo in round 5, I think it was. Figueiredo, I understand he's a better gas tank at this weight, but Jan's clearly going to have the better gas tank late. So I think it is live here.
Yeah, I was unaware that sportsbooks were just giving out free money this week because everybody and their brother is on Jan 345 KO in this fight. I was unaware that it was free money,
Who
but
else is on it?
yeah,
I
it
haven't
is.
seen anyone on it.
I mean everybody's going Jan late in this fight is what I've seen, but I try to stay away from that. Look, I think the challenging thing for me is that I don't think Jan should have this sort of number, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to see a way in that Figueiredo ends up beating him like convincingly, right? Because Jan's never been fit. Like the one time I can't even think he's been finished. It was just a DQ against Sterling. I'm trying to think back in my Rolodex. He survived with so many minutes of Aljo Sterling on his back. So is Figueiredo going to get his back and submit him here? Like Aljo wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
I
you
think
know,
unless Figueiredo's only chance is that fucking guillotine he has. If he gets the
he
guillotine, he can guillotine anyone.
yeah.
But I think that's really the only way he subs Jan in this fight.
Yeah, but like I think the interesting thing that my model picks up on is that Jan doesn't have a lot of explosive moments. Like his last highlight, by the way, was in the pre-Venom Shorts era. It came against Uriah Faber. Like other than that, he's going the distance with a lot of these dudes. He's
What about the
outpacing
Sean
them.
O'Malley fucking
Well, yeah.
big?
What highlight did he have in that fight? He
He
didn't
hit him
finish
with
him.
a huge shot, bro. A huge
Yeah,
shot in round two.
yeah. He didn't finish him though.
He
Like
wobbled
I
him.
mean,
It was a
uh,
huge shot. He
I'm just
literally got tagged and then he responded with an even harder shot.
yeah. I mean I guess you're right, but
And
it's like
O'Malley has a chin.
what I'm saying though is that Jan just a 0.91% knockdown rate. It's not very large. He's not a super big sub guy. A submission in this fight to me would be exhaustion related, but Figueiredo's older. Like you said, I think we can presume that his gas tank is. We've seen Jan go 5 hard, excellent, like winning late rounds against Jose Aldo, Corey Sandhagen. Figueiredo, when he's gone 5, it's been a little bit iffy, but all of that was at flyweight. So how does the weight cut affect that? Like he won round 3 against Chito Vera, but we don't really know per se. Here's the thing that's going to drive you nuts as it has. I backed Piotr Yanachok before. He gives away early rounds and early minutes because he's getting his reads. He almost always, it feels like, drops round 1. He did to Song Yudong in his fight before. And then you start playing a timing game. Like, I think Figueiredo is fast in this division. He's been accurate. And, like, some of the things that you knock Davison for, or Brandon Moreno knocked this guy out, any of his drawbacks really were kind of at 125. It's like, what does he not do well so far that we've seen at 135, other than you want to criticize the level of competition, which I think is fair. And then, like, when you throw that together, I'm just trying to make heads or tails of my model result here, where I actually think this is a really close fight. I've got Jan just 51.4% likely to win, and I'm showing actually value on the under, like violence here, 56% likely to start round 4. I'm way under sports books with that mark as well. So I kind of am going to make my play violence in this one. I think it could be a Jan late knockout. I think that Figueiredo guillotine is live. It's probably just a little bit undervalued, but from a betting standpoint, man, I just don't have any strong conviction. I don't love my model's result here. I think this line is wide, but I don't really know if Figueiredo can actually win to make a difference. So I think I'm just
Yeah.
going to probably mostly sit it out.
I think Jan decision was the shortest number, and then Jan KO was the second shortest.
Yeah. A guy that's lost a couple of split decisions as well, like against O'Malley. That was a
Davison
Rob fight.
Figueiredo decision is honestly not the craziest play in the world, depending on
Yeah.
the number here. Plus
It's plus,
460.
I think I saw it plus, yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
would
like, go ahead. Go ahead.
no. I mean, he would have to out grapple him a little bit, get some control time in there, maybe land a knockdown or two. That's tough.
Yeah.
I just think it's tough. I think when Peter Yan has lost these decisions, it's because he's been robbed. Like it's not really because he's getting dominated.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of tough to process what happened to him in that Marab fight because he was efficient. He did a great job defending the takedowns. He just quite literally never got to his own offense to actually win the fight. Like that was
Yeah,
the most unstoppable fighter I think I've ever seen in UFC was Marab in that fight, not giving Piotr Jan a second to breathe. And
yeah,
we know Davidson's not going to fight at that pace.
no,
Um, and in general, Jan 85% takedown defense is very good. That's
yeah.
where it's kind of hard to see exactly where Figueiredo would win his minutes. Maybe he gets a drop here or a big moment there, but like Figgy's a guy I've always had admiration for. I think at plus 225 it just feels a little bit wide, but
It
if I
does
had to
feel a
straight
little
pick
wide.
this
It
fight
does.
in
It
my
does.
house, yeah.
It does feel a little wide for sure.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I was hoping you weren't going to sell me a cycle leg in here because I just don't think
No,
there's
no. I
anything I
mean,
have any sort of
honestly,
conviction about.
I think the best play in this fight, just from a value standpoint, is Figgy decision plus 460. But I don't like
Yeah.
it. It's just like I feel like he fades late. But if he can steal if he can steal the two of the first 3 rounds, maybe he can go up 3-0. Like if he goes up
Yeah.
3-0 and then loses 4-5, But I don't know, bro. I just think that is a big number. That's a very big
Yeah.
number.
Jan fights close. And by the way, I've got Figgy decision plus 405. What if I told you that?
Value.
so yeah, so I'm showing a little bit of value on it there. Like
I could be sold.
I
I could be sold on that, truthfully.
yeah.
Not as a cycle leg because we're going with Ricci, but I could be sold. That may end up making my card. I keep coming back to that number. I'm like, what is going on? That's a big number for Figgy by decision. It's because of 5 rounds though.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me that betters cannot cannot stop lining up to get their balls smashed with Jan, and like 3 fights in a
Fuck,
row
dude.
he's
I
been
really
minus
think
two
Figgy's
hundred.
gonna win a decision now. I keep thinking about it.
Yeah,
I just see Jan's face right now when they're getting their hands raised. I see him down bad again after a decision. I can like visualize it in my head right now. I just see him down bad, pissed off. He lost another close decision. The UFC pushing Figueiredo right now at this division. I can see it right now, dude. I'm starting to get there on it. I really am.
yeah, we almost have like an alternate cycle parlay at this point because, like,
I'm in for
well,
2. It's
yeah,
gonna be the
because
middle
like
of the night. I need 2 cycle parlays, bro.
to
I don't
keep
even
you
think the
awake
sports book's gonna be open, so I gotta get 2 of these in. I need a
by
backup
before
cycle.
midnight. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All
Why
right,
don't
let's
we
build.
let's get
Build.
building?
So
Yeah, let's get building.
here, so let's look at this shit. So this is what we have, bro.
Okay.
We have one by knockout, Ricci by decision. Oh my god, just imagine sweating the Ricci decision when it gives the scorecards as a last leg.
And it's
We
a
need
split.
a win by submission here.
I think we go to Tumendemberel, right? I think that's the most that's
I think it is the only realistic option
yeah.
here, right there. Or we go
No,
Minshi plus 1300.
absolutely never. I will not let you do that. In fact, I think we should stay away from the road to UFC fights for all of the cycle parlays. That's
Or we go Jose. We were
well, I
talking
mean,
about
that's a how much are you going to be able to get down if we go Ochoa sub in one of these parlays? Because it's like 17 to 1 on its own, bro. You'll be able to get
yeah,
fifty
no, no,
bucks
no.
down.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably just do a submission lay Minshi
Okay.
to Minshi parlayed with Ocho
Now,
submission.
now I will
We
say
like sub parlay.
if we need a second sub for the alternate cycle parlay, bro, how about
Yeah.
Sung Yu Yu's name is Yu Jitsu. That's his nickname, not Jujitsu,
Wait,
Yu Jitsu.
wait, wait a second.
If you go back to he's taking on Gil Yisi. Yu Jitsu, bro. That's his nickname.
Don't tell me that.
Let me see what his sub prop is. It is sub is plus 500 for Jiu-Jitsu. If you're a believer
I
in
would,
Jiu-Jitsu.
I would consider that for the second lay.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like an alternate one. Like but
All
the
right,
officials
gotta
are all
go,
right.
Mike.
Let me
Mike, you're
can
gonna
I
have to
build the
copy and
safe
paste
parlay?
this name, brother. Oh shit.
Can I
You're
build the
gonna have,
safe parlay first?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But
So
Mike,
I
put
want to
that name
know
in the graphic for me. That name right there.
what do you think
Nyamjargal.
about Ulberg Oezdemir does not go the distance, and that's
I'm
leaving
in.
sub
I'm in
minus
on that.
186.
And Ricci does go the distance,
Ooh,
depending on the number.
I like that. It's probably like minus 400. It
That's
is
fine.
minus 340. You're right.
I'm
It
in on
is.
that. I'm in on that.
Okay, dude, that's minus 102. That's even money.
And right there, inside the by knockout minus
That's
150.
going to be minus like 1,000 to not go inside the distance, but
No,
I
no,
agree
no,
with you.
no, minus 150 knockout. That's the last leg.
Oh, okay.
That's the
I'm I
one, bro.
I,
We're hitting
I
the safe parlay with that
can get
one.
with it.
That's got to pay at
Yeah,
least like
plus
4 to 1.
231.
Oh, I thought it'd be a little higher.
Plus 231. Those
Oh
two
yeah,
guys.
because there's other
I'll
two
send this
legs.
to Mike. I like that a
Okay,
lot.
yeah, I like that. We
I
got
like
to
that a
smack
lot.
that one. Yeah,
If Zhang doesn't get the KO in China, he's banned from fighting there ever again
yeah.
against Ozzy.
We
Freaking
should make
Diaz.
a little KO parlay with Zhang,
I
Wang,
like Zhang
Oezdemir.
Wang, and if you want to make that on your own time, go ahead. Because I know you love Oezdemir KO. You were telling me about it earlier.
Yeah.
So, here's our
Mm.
safe parlay. I'll
Oh,
put it in.
Motta. I'll be in
Yeah,
on, dude. I would love to get Motta in a KO parlay just because if I hit the first leg of the first fight of the night, then it's like, all right, we got something. We're building something right now. We go Motta KO. This is my KO parlay, Mike. I'm going Motta KO. I'm going Oezdemir KO. And I'm going Zhang KO. Because I'm gonna
I
leave
like that.
Juan. I'm gonna leave Juan out of it because
She's
if
gonna be
she
in the
subs this
cycle.
chick, both my lays are fucked. All right, so there's a
Yeah,
submission parlay.
nice.
Or there's a cycle
We
parlay. I'm sorry.
well, we got to see what it's gonna pay here in a second.
Yeah.
I'm
You got it?
You're asking me to do a lot of things, okay? I had to build the safe one, and now we'll build the cycle. Okay,
All
so
right, I'm gonna build a
Tumendemberel
knockout one
sub.
in the meantime.
Tumendemberel sub is plus 550. Wang Kong KO is plus 270. Imagine a women's strawweight KO being plus 270, and you and I hammer it.
Yeah.
And then reaching decision is plus 250. Maddie, it's 83 to 1 together for the cycle parlay. Pays 83-17, dude.
I'm putting 2,500 on that. I should pay like 3 racks, right? 80, 16. Yeah, I should pay 2,500. Should pay like 300,000. Is that right?
Yep,
What's the exact number to pay 300,000? Because I'm gonna have to put more
I
on it
got
at the
you.
Hard Rock. Um,
So 3750 would pay 311,000.
oh wow, my math was bad. 3750
Yeah,
pays 300. Oh no, 200,000.
311. Oh, you want to pay 200,000? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's my bad.
It is
Should be
20
2,500 ish.
2400 ish.
Beautiful.
$2,400. It pays 1,999,620. So almost 200K.
Beautiful. All right, here's my KO parlay, Mike. I love this KO parlay. Oezdemir is going to be a sweat, that's for sure. But this is a monster right here. Plus 4,700 too. Plus 4,700. Check that out in Telegram. Oezdemir knockout plus 500. Motta knockout plus 380. Zhang knockout minus 150. Plus 4,700 odds. I love that. I love that.
Wait. So your KO parlay?
I got a KO parlay. Yeah. Nikolas Motta by KO plus 380. Volkan Oezdemir by KO plus 500.
Okay.
Zhang minus 150. That's
You're gonna
live,
be
dude.
if you're gonna text me, you're gonna say I should have done Ulberg on Saturday. I can tell
Chill,
you that
bro.
right
Yeah.
now. I do like that fight to end by KO, but
Yeah, he's gonna walk him down, dude. He's gonna walk him down. He just can't. He can't Alonzo Menafield him though. He's got to have a little more poise than that. He can't
yeah,
just run forward against him, but he can pressure him.
yeah. I'm a little scared. Why I wanted to do distance there is because both of those guys have shown a sub, like Oezdemir sub Bogdan Guskov and Ulberg sub doing Jung, so I didn't want to necessarily go fight ends KO there, just in case, especially if
Yeah.
it gets late and weird. But
By the way, Mike, we can get rid of these commas out of the odds, bro. Just 8,317 plus 8,317.
yeah,
You don't need the commas in the betting odds.
it's in the dollars that will win
The
by
dollars
cash.
need
It's in the
commas.
dollar. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
dollars need
dollars
commas.
need commas.
I really like of the like I knew all three of these, Maddie, were going to be my angle in those fights. But now I like Kong inside the distance better, but like I still
Yeah.
think knockout is overwhelmingly likely as far as the options. So there are the two parlays. We got the cycle on the left and the safe parlay on the right as well. I have it in the comments as well. Whichever. Obviously, I'm have an affinity for the safe parlay, but Maddie thinks we're smacking a cycle at 6 a.m. on
I know we
Saturday,
are.
which is
I know
uh,
we are.
both of us in cold brew in hand, spilling it
Yeah.
as Tabitha Ricci wins by split decision, and y'all doubted it. That one was really not liked in the comments, Manny. A lot of our chat really likes
Good.
Xiaocan to win that
Fucking
one.
right. I love when my shit's not liked. Every
Yeah,
single time people are like, oh, that's a great play. It fucking
yeah,
gets smacked. But when
yeah.
people hate the play, people hated. Do you know how bad people hated Hamzat by submission, bro? They were like, Whitaker ain't getting subbed. You know how many
Yes,
people DM me and commented and say it was the dumbest play on the planet, and then he chokes him out in round one. I'm telling you, I love when people hate our plays, dude. They always smack when people hate them. Ricci
yeah,
by decision to smack him. Oh my god, I just had the worst thought in my head that we mix
what
up the first and second base. We mix them up.
again? Oh my god! Don't
You
do
know
that to
that
me.
could happen too. Con by sub and then the
Yeah,
other guy by TKO. That
yeah,
could fucking happen, bro.
it could happen.
If that
I
happens to
just
me again, dude, I'm done, bro. I'm done. I'm gonna
I
start making an inside the distance cycle parlay, dude. I don't know what else to do.
Does it make you feel worse that it would pay more if we get it wrong and it was Kong sub?
Well,
And,
it's like the John Jones one would have paid
yeah,
less, right? But it would
yeah,
have hit at least. If we had Jones knockout and we had Jim Miller sub, it would have paid
yeah,
significantly less, but it would have won.
yeah. So, Maddie, I wanted to run this by you. There's no
Yeah.
UFC card next week. I appreciate you guys joining in before I let Maddie go. Maybe we do a small special show for the PFL card next week. We got Dakota Ditcheva. We got all the
I'm
world
in.
champions next week. Hopefully, we will have.
Mortgage bet on Dakota, bro.
Yeah, maybe we do that guy Friday morning with the event Friday night. I'm just thinking out loud here because
Yeah,
because I'm just trying to think when we might have props on FanDuel for it, which might not be till the morning of.
that's
So
true. Yeah, yeah. And then the
we
following week, UFC 310, I'm gonna be at the Fountain Blue in Vegas. I'm
ooh,
fucking
cool.
pumped, bro. I'm fucking pumped. I'm going there
Where is
December
310 is in
5th. I'm
Vegas,
flying
isn't it?
in. We're gonna have the Homa Fight team there. Jake Noecker is gonna be covering his first card as part of Homa Fight. We're gonna have Hey
Nice.
Jive picks there, the three of us, and I got a grand suite at Fountain Blue. 2,000 square foot suite with pool tables and an entertainment room and some mini bar, bro. We're gonna have a Homa Fight like little party there. We're gonna have some. I'll be doing the stream from the room there. It's gonna be sick, dude. I'm so pumped.
Am I
And then we got,
invited?
dude, 100% come through. We got Power Slap. I'm going to Power Slap the
Oh, I'm not
6th.
going to Power Slap. Don't
You
worry
don't
about
have to,
that.
but I'm going to Power Slap the 6th, and I'm going to 310 the 7th.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, guys. We love our cycles. Hey, we had a great show anyway. We'll see you
Let's
guys very
go.
early Saturday morning, and we'll keep an eye on our social media channels. We'll get a PFL update because it is a big card, and I don't want to say goodbye. So until next
Let's
time,
go.
whenever we see you, Austin Swaim, Matt Tanner, thanks so much for your patronage. Hope your bets hit.